What is going on, guys? You're listening to the Realest podcast, and welcome to the results of 2017 SummerSlam, joined by Andrew Baz, and it was a long 4 hours. Very long 4 hours. What's going on, Juan?
Juan's back.
To say the least, it was a long 4 hours.
Yeah, it was a interesting pay-per-view, up and down.
Yeah. I thought through it all, that it really wasn't that good. I'd give it a 4. The main event was the only thing that was good out of all of tonight.
I disagree. I think the pre-show match with the New Day and Usos was amazing. I also think that Bliss versus Banks was really good. Other than that, the rest of the pay-per-view was kind of predictable and garbage.
I don't even think it was. I don't even think that it was. It was predictable, but it's just like, really, it has to be that bad.
Well, like the worst part of tonight was the 10-second match between Orton and
I do not know what went through the thought process in that one. I don't. I really don't know who said, "All right, Orton, you want in a SummerSlam match? Yeah. All right. We're going to give you...
We got no time for 10 seconds.
That's it. 10 seconds.
I know whoever came up with that brilliant idea was the same guy who came up with the Goldberg-Lesnar match.
Just such a bad call on that. Your opening match was what? What was the opening match? John Cena, Baron Corbin?
It was Corbin and John Cena, and it wasn't even as good as the tag team match with New Day or Usos.
That wasn't good either. That was really bad.
No, it was terrible. And you know what? They buried Corbin today.
Yeah, I saw a lot of tweets. One was from Solomonster, and I'm sorry if I just butchered his name. I really don't know who he is, but he straight up said, "I don't use this term very rarely say it, but this is the definition of a burial."
Yeah.
If you can't see that they lost faith in Baron Corbin, I don't know what to tell you.
You're blind, man. You're blind. No, I mean, like, how do you go from having everything in place for you to be the next WWE champion, and then in less than a week, everything has fallen apart to, like, the worst extent?
Yeah. Absolutely. Who will face Brock next? I could see Braun Strowman.
Absolutely.
Easily. I think Strowman can put in the effort of saying, I had 2 people pinned and you saved them barely, type of thing. I could see that happening. But an awful SummerSlam. 10 times worse than last year's. This is probably one of the... I'm going to be honest. Out of the 4 big pay-per-views, this might be worse than... Nah, I don't know. Survivor Series was pretty bad. But, it was bad. The only thing I enjoyed was the main event. The AJ Styles and Kevin Owens match was very predictable.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I expected Shane to play a bigger role than he did.
It just seemed like Shane played that, look, if you touch me, I'm going to knock you out. It kind of seemed like he was that guy that, I'm a pacifist, but if you try anything, I'll kick your ass type of guy, It was so bad. Do we even start from the top?
Well, we could start with the match of the night. We could start with Big Cass versus Big Show.
That was a joke.
I tell you what, though, for the match itself being really crappy, I was very entertained by Enzo and his antics, trying to get in the head of Big Cass and trying to squeeze himself out of that cell.
Yeah, I don't get what the point of him getting out of the cell was, just to get kicked.
Yeah, as soon as he dropped, it just lights out.
You would figure he would have more of a purpose of getting, sent out.
Right. He could have just stayed up there at that point.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no
I
point.
thought as soon as Big Show kicked out of the first big boot, that Enzo was going to get up and do something.
Yeah. But, I mean, to start SummerSlam, you have John Cena versus Baron Corbin, which at first kind of seemed surprising. Because when have we, I mean, other than him dropping the U.S. title to Alberto Del Rio, when have we ever seen Cena go at the top of the show?
Very rarely.
Exactly. So it was sort of surprising, but don't blame him. Bad match. Baron Corbin did the typical "let's slide through the bottom rope" as I'm getting sent to the to the turnbuckle or the corner 3 times, and that is probably my biggest pet peeve with Baron Corbin. And this is why I say, oh, he has a move set that he does all the time. That is one of the reasons why he does the same thing every time he's on defense or getting in the defensive mode. Last night was it's amazing what 24 hours can do. Last night,
Well, here's the
loving it.
difference. Here's the difference. Last night got us exciting for the next night of wrestling. Tonight, now we're going to be like, why do we even want to watch Monday Night Raw?
So bad. Very, very bad. I not at a loss for words, but it's very disappointing when we have 2 straight SummerSlams that weren't good. Last year's SummerSlam we weren't proud of. This year's SummerSlam, very disappointed. If I lived in the New York area, or the New York City area, why in the world would I want to go to SummerSlam? They keep having it in the Barclays Center. Why would I want to go? The build for everything was awful.
Except that Fatal 4-Way.
The Fatal 4-Way, it was important and it felt like a big fight.
The whole Sasha Banks Alexa Bliss thing was thrown together last minute.
Every title
Obviously, Bayley was meant to capture the championship because Sasha took that place.
Every title match, except for 3, changed hands. We had, at one point, every single title change. We had every title change until the U.S. title.
I think the biggest problem SummerSlam had was the placement of matches. They had all their weaker matches up first, which made the pay-per-view really drag.
I don't mind that because it's annoying when you get a really good match and then 2 straight bad ones and then a really good one and then a bad one, and then it's just like, because at that point I'm excited and there's no point in getting excited anymore.
I know, for me it's the opposite. It's like if you have like 5 straight really bad matches, it's just like it takes it all out of me. By the time AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens comes around, I'm ready to go to bed.
Well, why not do this? Why not just scratch them? Scratch every single one of those matches and have 2 to 3 matches that are off the main card or off of that in the opening card matches. I mean, do what the UFC does. They have 2 to 3 fights, and then you go into the title match.
Well, then again, the problem of not everyone's getting enough time. It just they really dropped the ball when it came to the pre-show. I mean, putting the New Day and Usos in the pre-show, knowing how good their last few matches were, was a huge mistake. They should have never done that. They've dropped the ball just as bad as they did with the Miz and Dolph Ziggler there, that one pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew that there was other matches you could have put on that card. And you know what? I'm going to go out and say it. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Cesaro and Sheamus wasn't as good as the New Day and Usos.
But it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, but it was on your main card when the Usos and the New Day tore the house down.
But
not everyone got to see it.
The bigger name there is Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. They're not going to put Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose on that pre-show. Just not going to happen. I mean, if we're going to have a 10-second match, why in the world is it Randy Orton and Rusev even on the main card? I would have rather Rusev just say, hey, I forfeit, I'm sick.
I mean, that's another burial right there. I mean, how does Rusev come back from something like that?
I don't even know why he came back to begin with.
I mean, this is two straight pay-per-view losses, one against Cena, and which was a terrible match in itself, the flag match. I don't even get me started about the flag match. And then you get Orton versus Rusev, and that's not even 10 seconds. I mean, it took long. The beatdown he delivered on Orton at the beginning of the match lasted longer than the match itself.
Yep. But we did have, I mean, the second match on the card was the SmackDown Women's Championship, Naomi versus Natalya. Natalya beats Naomi. Naomi sits in the middle of the ring crying as if she's retiring and as if she's never going to get an opportunity again. I don't get why we had the emotion, but thank the Lord we have a new women's champion. Is Natalya better than Naomi? No. But Naomi's reign, awful. Awful reign. She retained and then faced Lana 3 times. Great reign.
Well, I'm surprised they had her drop the title because she just revamped it. And now, from what Natalya is saying, she's going to go back to the original title.
Good. The title looks awful.
I totally agree, but I'm surprised that they would let the title get changed like that.
Is it your
only to have it
prestigious
get changed
championship
back.
or is it a glow toy?
I don't know. When Cena revamped the championship, that lasted a few months at best, and then you get this and it's only like a few weeks. I just hate when they do stuff like that, when they change things only to drop the ball.
Yeah. That match was okay. I mean, it really wasn't that great at all. Then moving on, Big Cass versus Big Show. I don't know why Big Show and Big Cass was on the main card.
That was a kickoff show match at best.
With Enzo Amore in a shark cage. If you can get out of the shark cage, I mean, why not implement, hey, if you get out of the shark cage, the person that you are in there with is disqualified. I don't get that. We're going to put you in a shark cage to make sure that you don't get involved. But hey, if you get out, you can get involved.
Right. Well, it didn't even matter anyway.
No, it didn't matter, but I mean...
you could see it as soon as he was hanging from the cage like an idiot. You're like, oh, as soon as he drops, he's getting his face kicked off.
Yeah. Then Randy Orton defeats Rusev in about 10 seconds from bell to bell. Rusev didn't even get entrance music. That's how bad it was. Rusev literally ran in and attacked Randy Orton. Randy Orton just came out of nowhere and just spiked him. I don't even think it wasn't an RKO because I'm pretty sure Rusev might have a concussion after that RKO. He spiked him into the canvas.
Yeah, that was a very, very harsh RKO.
We'll get to that in 1 second, I promise. We will get to your questions in a second. When we get to that point and we start talking about that, we will. I promise.
Oh, I know what his questions are.
As we said during the pre-show and everything, yes, the Usos did beat the New Day. But to
in
the Raw,
hell of a match.
Yes,
hell of a match.
Yes, but to the Raw Women's Championship, Sasha Banks beats Alexa Bliss, which wasn't a bad match. But
it was a great match.
At that point, Marty very disappointed in SummerSlam. Not happy at all.
And then your network kicks out on you.
Oh yeah, this is when the network just decides to poop itself. The Demon Finn Balor defeats Bray Wyatt, which seemed like it just seemed like not a burial, but it seemed like, a way just to show, hey, Finn Balor's here.
It was a squash match, in my opinion.
No, it was more of, hey, the demon is here, and the demon, you don't mess with the demon.
That match didn't even last 10 minutes. I went to the bathroom, and by the time I got back from the bathroom, the match was over.
And then Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins defeat Cesaro and Sheamus. New Raw Tag Team Champions. When in reality, for the amount of time during that match, the Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were getting their ass kicked. It was an ass kicking.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens defeats AJ Styles, defeats Kevin Owens. It's setting up for Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens in the future. It really is. Easily see it happening at Survivor Series. Easily. And then, let's talk this. Then you have your WWE Championship. Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
No, the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura.
So, where to begin?
Well, I was I had my fingers crossed because I thought Funaki was going to jump across the table and start beating on the Hindu announce team.
Yeah.
Trying to fight over that.
For a little bit, I thought I ordered the Indian and Japanese package. Started getting a little worried. What happened?
It's like all of a sudden it cuts to the different languages and it's like, what? Wait, what? Check my English sub. I'm like, yeah. Oh, man.
I don't know where to begin. Jinder Mahal obviously retains the title. But
not before the Singh brothers get involved.
What I don't get, and they do this every time, is why are we going to have our champion? He has beaten Randy Orton for the title, defended it 3 times?
Mm-hmm.
He's defended it 3 times, so that's 4. He has had 4 different times, 4 or now 5. Every single championship match he has been in, where Jinder Mahal gets his ass kicked for 30 minutes or 20 minutes.
Only to be saved by the Singh brothers or the Great Khali, or both.
How are you going to tell me that my champion is going to get beat 20 to 25 minutes and have a little bit of time to beat up Shinsuke and Randy Orton, to turn around and have 2 people win the match for him and just out of nowhere spring out the finisher? I mean, at this point, if I'm a competitor, I am making sure during my title match, those 2 don't get involved. But there was one point where Shinsuke is staring at both of them. He looks at them, shrugs his shoulders, and gets back in the ring. Like, oh, they're not going to get involved. I just don't
Everyone knew that once they were there at ringside, it was only a matter of time.
The moment they get thrown out, or the moment they get banned from ringside, is the moment that Jinder Mahal loses. You could say, well, they've already been thrown out. Yeah, but they still got in the way and distracted.
Yeah, somehow.
At this point, Jinder Mahal needs to lose that title. There's no point in keeping that title around his waist. There's not. Keeping that title around his waist right now is doing nothing but disgracing it. Because now you know that they're going to play the angle that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to chase the title. Who's next? Who do you put in that situation next?
Ty Dillinger.
You can't... There's nobody else now. Do you give Shinsuke Nakamura a second chance? I mean, might as well. They gave Randy 4. Or 3, excuse me. Gave him 3. Randy goes to Shane and says, he beat up my family. You know this can't happen to Shane. But don't forget, not long ago, Shane kicked Vince in the head, kicked Stephanie in the head, and kissed her in front of Triple H.
I mean, Randy kicked Shane in the head and Vince in the head or whatever.
Yeah. He kicked Steph in the head, too. You don't remember that? While Triple H was handcuffed? So to say, well, if you're determined about family, it's like, wow, you forgive and forget real quick. It just baffles me. It really does. I don't understand why that belt is still on him. I was for it at first, and slowly but surely I'm just getting away from it. Because they give Shinsuke a second chance, which again, they might as well because they give everybody gets second chances. It's the land of opportunity. We might as well give them 4. It's a land of opportunity. But hey, you know what? Why not? Give them a chance.
Well, next time it's going to be the Great Khali because they're going to ban the Singh brothers from ringside, and the Great Khali is going to take out Shinsuke.
Let's add the Punjabi prison match.
Yeah, another
Do
one.
that again.
Well, since it's a land of opportunity, how about 2 more of them?
Yeah. So what's next for Jinder Mahal? I don't know. Personally, I don't care. What's next
Shinsuke
for
Nakamura.
What's next for Shinsuke? I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a good match between him and Mahal at all. And I hate to say it, but Shinsuke really hasn't had a good match since coming on the main roster.
Well, that's the NXT problem. You bring out somebody from NXT and they don't get the time or the care that they got in NXT under Triple H.
I think his match with Cena wasn't bad.
Yeah, but that was a SmackDown match.
Yeah. I mean, you could put Cena next. This is true. You could put Cena next on Mahal. Because Cena did beat the Money in the Bank champion. Your Money in the Bank winner. Because Jinder Mahal is looked at as a serious deal. And a serious threat in the WWE eyes. And well, until now.
Yeah, but would you have Cena win the championship outside of a major pay-per-view?
Nope.
So Cena shouldn't be next.
Singh brothers get involved.
Again?
Yep. You know, and people that
How
will
about the
say,
Great Khali?
well, Kevin Owens did this, this, and this, and Chris Jericho helped him every time. Difference is Kevin Owens didn't struggle 25 minutes out of the 20,
No, well,
20 to 25
there was a lot
minutes
of
out
times where he would dominate for a majority of the match, and then as soon as he was about to lose, Chris Jericho would get involved.
When you're facing Roman Reigns 3 times, you need all the help you can get.
Oh yeah, you need God himself in your corner.
So, to the Fatal 4-Way match. Felt like a big fight. Played out like a big fight. First entrant, Braun Strowman. Crowd goes nuts. Don't blame him. Strowman's white hot. Samoa Joe. Crowd goes nuts. Whole crowd's chanting Joe. Again, somebody else that's white hot. As soon as Joe's music stops, the boos roll in. Roman Reigns comes out. Crowd boos him out of the building. Brock comes out. Hardcore fans cheer. Everybody else boos.
He even got Nana chance, when he was getting carted off.
Yep. So what do I take away from this match? It was good. They did what they could and what they had to do to make that good. Because the 4 of them can't wrestle it out. Because how in the world is, we've already seen what Roman Reigns and Strowman do. They have to, get super physical. Use weapons for them to go out at each other. Samoa Joe's kind of, he can go at it. But it's, big guys. Every one of them was around 300 pounds. You tell me if you can lift a 300-pound man and do a suplex or something. So, best part of tonight was when Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar were in the ring together, one-on-one. Crowd went nuts. If Braun Strowman isn't next for that Universal title, I'll be very disappointed. Roman Reigns doesn't deserve the next opportunity for it. Neither does Samoa Joe. I think out of everybody, with how the match went, Braun deserves it. I mean, for God's sakes, he put Brock through 2 tables and then threw the other one on top of him. Braun almost pinned 2 different people before Brock saved, what? If I'm not mistaken, he saved both of them.
Yeah, he saved both Joe and Reigns.
Braun didn't take the pin. Out of all of them, I think Braun looked the best.
Oh, yeah. I think that they did that on purpose because I feel like that was them hinting towards the one-on-one match in the future.
And what I hate...
Because you just need to do it at this point.
And what I hate is the weakest one out of the 4, Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe barely got any offense in that match.
Well, the thing I hated about Samoa Joe, and I think I blame like this new direction they took with Samoa Joe. Every time Samoa Joe got in the ring, it seemed like he was doing the Coquina Clutch.
Well, he can't do his finisher because it ended Tyson Kidd's career, and if I'm not mistaken, when he did it, I think he hurt Finn Balor or something kind of with it. So I think.
Well, I mean, that's when you come up with a new finisher other than the Coquina Clutch. Well, you can't have just a submission as your finisher.
Well, that's kind of what he's known for now. You know, it started with toward his end of his run at NXT. And then his run, as soon as he got into the main roster, first thing he did was make Seth Rollins pass out. Towards MCL in the process, though.
Well, I mean, like, here's my thing, though. You can have a second finisher. I mean, Roman Reigns has a Superman punch and the spear. The spear is his primary thing.
The Superman punch
can't
is
just
technically the signature.
Right, but you can't pull out the Coquina Clutch every 5 minutes. It devalues the move.
I mean, I don't know what he does because he had a finisher where it was sort of like, I don't remember what it's called, but it's sort of like the choke slam, but it's not a choke slam. And that's what they did for his finisher for a little bit, but then they just said, okay, the Coquina Clutch is what it is. I think the Coquina Clutch is what it's got to stay because, you know, his original, the Muscle Buster, can't be his finisher because he hurts. He's hurting people. And I think, you know, they're going to try to play the safe route. Sort of like how AJ Styles Clash isn't his finisher. Styles Clash has been AJ
It was
Styles.
Tonight. He did it twice.
It was that reassurance to get, you know, okay. Sort of like John Cena doing a double AA. But AJ Styles' finisher is the phenomenal forearm, which if anybody knows AJ Styles and have watched AJ Styles throughout his entire career, knows that his finisher is a Styles Clash. The thing is when wrestling, when you're taught to take a bump, you're taught to tuck your head in. With Styles Clash, you do the opposite. You tuck your head out. Because if you tuck your head in, I want you to look this up. After you listen to the show, look up Styles Clash gone wrong, and it will break your neck. Don't believe me? Search it. It's not pretty. So, again, Samoa Joe looks probably the weakest, and Roman Reigns got in his spots. You know, as I said on the pre-show, I thought that we would see Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar on his knees, Roman do the chant, ooh, ah, in the middle of the ring, and then we would hear the Undertaker's music. I was wrong. It's set up real nice. My heart started beating a little bit like, oh my God, this could happen. That obviously, as he was going for the spear, he got caught with an F5, and Roman Reigns, surprisingly enough, took the pin. Figured Samoa Joe out of everybody would take the pin.
I think that might have been their original plan, though, to have the Undertaker come out, and then as soon as they said, we want Taker, it was like Vince was like, nope.
I don't know. I don't think that's... I think if it was going to happen, it was going to happen. You know? So, at the end of the day, SummerSlam was disappointing. I think if, you know, SummerSlam is the way they present it, it's the second biggest pay-per-view out of the 4. It goes WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series. Which Survivor Series hasn't felt important in a while. So, where do we go from here? What's next for Brock Lesnar? I think Braun Strowman. I think the smart move is Braun Strowman. What's next for Samoa Joe? Sadly, I think he goes back to the mid card and has programs with I don't know. I think having him involved in the Superstar Shakeup would be good because the guy's a top heel and he deserves to be on top. Doesn't deserve the mid card. Guy's white hot. CM Punk said in his podcast years ago, or on Colt Cabana's podcast, that when a guy's white hot, that's the person that deserves to be in that WrestleMania main event. Obviously, he won't get a main event because that's going to go to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. But he deserves main events at pay-per-views. And I think having a Superstar Shake-Up would be good. Send Joe to SmackDown. Also, I mean, you could put him up against Finn Balor. What's next for the Raw Tag Team Champions? Cesaro and Sheamus. They got to get a rematch. So what's next? No Mercy? If I'm not mistaken, is the next one?
Yeah, because of that creepy commercial that came up earlier.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what? I thought it was just a regular commercial. And, you just see like a bunch of them. No Mercy. I was like, whoa. It was
really trippy.
Creepy. So, yeah, No Mercy's next. So they'll get the rematch at No Mercy. So more than likely we'll have those stupid one-on-ones where, you'll have Seth Rollins face Cesaro, Dean Ambrose face Sheamus, and then the next week Seth Rollins face Sheamus, and Dean Ambrose faces Cesaro in those stupid one-on-ones.
Then a contract signing going wrong.
Right, it's all we're waiting for. When is Finn getting his title rematch? He's not. It's not happening. I don't think it'll happen for a while because I think Braun is too hot. I think with the way Braun is, he's doing too well and he's too white hot to pass up this opportunity. If they wait and do it, it'll be too late because I think with all big men, they're just a failure waiting to happen. And I don't mean that in like any disrespect that big men don't work because Big Show did work for a while. But Great Khali was only, successful for a little bit. When he faced John Cena for the WWE title, that's when that ended. I mean, that's the greatest example I can think of right there off the top of my head. I mean, Big Cass is another example. Look at him. He's not even white hot, and he's already, going downhill.
Yeah, but that's because they didn't do this when he was ready to do this.
Yeah. So I think Finn should be involved also in the Superstar Shakeup. I think having Samoa Joe, Finn Balor go, or AJ Styles and John Cena would be good. I think that would actually be really good. And then obviously the Miz would go over with the Intercontinental Championship. What you could trade for that is could easily trade, or I'm trying to think of somebody. Could easily have Randy Orton for that too. And if we're going to say, SmackDown's the land of opportunity, you could actually mean it. Be a lot of young guys on SmackDown. What's next for Roman Reigns?
That's a good question.
What's next?
I mean, I guess you could say Samoa Joe.
No. I don't think Joe cost anything. And I think having another program with Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe would be pointless. I don't know what's next for Roman Reigns. You could have Seth and Dean try to get a Shield reunion. But at this point, there really isn't anything. You could, somehow continue his program with Braun because technically it's not over.
No, I think they need to cool it with Roman and Braun for now.
I agree, but it doesn't help that each time somebody wins, the other person one-ups them the next night. So, I don't know. I know he's also rumored in the Superstar Shakeup. So I think him having a change wouldn't be bad either. But I think for the Universal title, it has to be Braun and Brock.
Well, he's the only one that Brock hasn't faced one-on-one out of the 4.
Yep.
Or out of the 3.
Yep.
Reigns had his opportunity and failed.
Well, actually, technically, Roman has.
Well, he did.
Not at that WrestleMania back then, but he hasn't gotten it since then.
He had his opportunity tonight and failed. Samoa Joe had his opportunity and failed. Braun Strowman hasn't had his one-on-one opportunity. And if anything, tonight has proven that Braun Strowman is a superior guy out of the 3, and how he dominated tonight. And I think that's what you're going to hear on Monday. You need to give me the Beast because I destroyed the Beast.
Yeah. When is the shakeup happening? Well, as of right now, it's rumored. If the shakeup does happen, I see it being announced tomorrow. Vince coming out once again saying there's going to be another Superstar shakeup, and he'll more than likely say, since the first one went so well, let's do it again.
That's the only thing that upsets me. It hasn't really been that long since the last shakeup.
Yeah, but it's needed.
How many times do you shake up everything?
Well, I mean, at this point, you'd have to do it twice a year because it's needed. I think you should do a draft once a year. Because in reality, with doing a brand split, you can get every single one of your storylines, and you could, pan it out for a year. But I think doing a shakeup, it's good and bad at the same time. It's a 50-50. Because you get those new faces, but at the same time, storylines get old.
Well, they kind of ruined the Miz over on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, he didn't even title matches tonight.
I mean, he blasted Kurt Angle on Twitter for that.
Don't blame him.
Him not being able to defend his championship. He's the only champion that wasn't able to defend his championship.
Yep. He surely didn't. I don't know where you go from here with a lot of things, but if I don't know if you were still talking, Andrew, but you cut out if you were.
No, I'm done.
Okay. If I am right, and new what? Hang on. Oh, okay, that. I was starting to be like, wait, what? And new? What's going on? Popped up on my feed. So if it gets announced tomorrow, I see it being, if we're looking at it, as this week, next week being the Superstar Shakeup. Not this coming up.
Honestly, I think the best way to make Survivor Series important would be to have whoever wins Survivor Series get the top pick in the draft. But
Yeah, I don't know. I just when it comes to a draft, your first pick should be important, but at the same time, it's so predictable because it's going to be Seth, Dean, or Roman Reigns that goes top, or Brock Lesnar. Those are going to be your top guys. They get picked.
What about Jinder Mahal? He's a top guy.
Getting his ass kicked, he's the top guy.
Well, you know what? If we're going to talk about people getting their asses kicked, Shawn Michaels is on the top of their list.
Him and Cena, man. Remember Big Match John? He'd get his ass kicked the entire time and then just turn around and be like, here it is. 5-knuckle shuffle. F you. Or, excuse me, attitude adjustment. But I think that's going to do it for us. Not a lot to build on. storylines. I mean, in reality, every storyline except for the Raw Tag Team Championship, the women's SmackDown Women's Championship, Raw Women's Championship. Major storylines are done. AJ Styles are done. You know, the Universal title storyline is over. Every other storyline for championships are still on. One-on-one matches. I mean, for the undercard, there was no storylines with any of them. Maybe Cena and Baron Corbin, but I mean that got destroyed. Like, if you want to see someone's career literally end in a week, watch this past week's SmackDown and watch this SummerSlam.
Yep, poor Baron Corbin. R.I.P. And he got a new entrance music too. I thought it was like, ooh, maybe that might give him an edge. Nope.
No. Corbin was too busy yelling at the crowd because the crowd was silent. He was trying to get them involved. During that match, that crowd, I could have heard crickets. That crowd was just talking to each other, having a good time. He tried really hard to get that crowd involved. But I think that will do it for us tonight. Wasn't a great night. Wasn't a bad night. Or no, it was a bad night. What am I talking about? Wasn't good at all. We'll see where it goes from here. You know, as we always say with storylines, you know, we always get that question, well, what's next for this? What's going to happen here? Well, we have to see what happens. I think the only clear thing that could happen with a big title is we could see. I mean, there's two big things that I think should happen. I think they'll go in the direction of Shinsuke getting a rematch, and the reason why I think that is because they need to fill in time, and I think it's a must to have Brock face Braun. I think that's a must. If that doesn't happen, I'll be very disappointed. But I think with that being said, that's going to do it for us. This will be your SummerSlam 2017 review and results and our thoughts. So until next time, guys, until tomorrow night, we'll be live with the Monday Night Raw review, and then it's Tuesday with a SmackDown Live review. God help us this week. Let wrestling be good again. And until next time, peace out.